You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers, about hikers, for everybody. Returning to Katahdin, an Appalachian Trail dream. Have you ever dreamt of hiking the AT? Bruce Matson did, so we're going to follow him every step of the way. Hi, and thanks so much for coming back to Returning to Katahdin and Appalachian Trail Dream, sponsored by Trailtopia Adventure Foods. We've moved on to week 13 of Bruce's hike and episode number 30 since we began this show back in November last year. Bruce has just returned from a week at home, so this week has been his first back on the trail after such an extended stay away. I wanted to know how the week at home had affected him and whether or not he was mentally back in the game, so to speak. As usual, he gave thoughtful, considered answers. We caught up twice, with the first chat coming outside the Bears Den hostel, which means that he was 4 miles past his 1,000-mile marker. To give those of you who are not hikers some context, that is slightly further than walking from Times Square in Manhattan to Jacksonville in Florida. It is a long way, and he's only halfway. Not even that, in fact. The concept of setting out on a hike of over 2,000 miles is a really tricky one to fully imagine, and frankly, that was a good thing for me. I didn't really grasp the scale of the thing until I crossed the halfway marker post, which Bruce will do this week. As I stood there, grinning like a demented fool for a photo in front of the sign, I remember thinking, I've got to do all of that again, only on tougher terrain. I've got to tell you, it wasn't the greatest moment for my confidence. Still, this is the journey he's taken, and as you're going to hear, he is embracing every darn step. But before we hear from Bruce and the twittering birds outside of Bears Den Hostel, let's hear what's on the menu tonight. Do you remember those cold, wet evenings on the trail when you pitched up at a shelter and there was nothing you would have rather had than a beautiful, hot, home-cooked meal? Well, apart from actually going home, you could try out one of the delicious meals from Trailtopia. Why not dig into their spectacular jambalaya with its authentic Creole flavour? Or how about their beef stew, which is loaded with beef, potatoes, carrots, mushrooms, corn, green beans and green bell pepper in a fantastic beef gravy. Go on, try them. Trust me, you'll love them. Trailtopia, the best of home cooking away from home. Now, settle back and listen to Bruce, sitting outside in the glorious sunshine with just the birds and me for company.
Good morning.
That's better. Hi, how are you?
Oh, good.
Yeah. You've got a question to ask later on about something coming up soon. But so you're back on the trail and you're at Bears Den. I know that when I was on the trail, Bears Den Hostel was at mile 999. So when I got there, I was so excited about passing 1,000 tomorrow. But when we texted last night, you said that you've already passed 1,000. So how many miles are you now?
Yeah, so Bears Den is at 1,004 miles.
All right, cool. Did you see a sign for 1,000?
There's an old sign that's misplaced, obviously now because of the changed mileage. Yeah. But someone had created a very nice rock.
Cool.
Representation of 1,000 miles. So took a picture of that. It was right in the middle of the trail. It was nicely done. So that's a pretty exciting milestone.
Yeah, just think of it, 1,000 miles. Just absolutely amazing. What a great achievement, Bruce. Well done. That's fantastic.
Well, thanks.
I remember Bears Den very, very well. And the reason I remember it is because I had Ben and Jerry's ice cream and I was desperate for a pint of Jerry Garcia. So do they still do that sort of thing up there?
Yeah. Yeah, they have a really great. It's a great place. Beautiful old stone. Apparently, it was like a summer home mansion. It's a really beautiful building, and they've got just a great feel and great service here. They have you get a bunk.
Yeah.
You get a pizza, you get a soda, and you get a pint of Ben and Jerry's and laundry for $30. So
Tough
can't
to
beat
beat.
the price, and
Yeah.
great place, great hiker lounge, just a good service. It's a great. Everyone should stop here.
I recall on that day to get to there, it was quite a longish day for me, and I had to go over the roller coaster first in the afternoon, having done some more. So I was really rushing to get there because of the Jerry Garcia, or the Cherry Garcia rather. But you didn't enjoy the roller coaster too much last night, did you? Or yesterday?
It was a beautiful day, maybe a slightly on the warm side, but we had a decent breeze. And probably like you, I did 18 miles yesterday. So the last 10 of the 18 was the roller coaster. And I may have been set up by the night before at the shelter. A couple of people said, it's really a lot easier than it's billed to be. Don't worry about it. Well, I thought it was brutal. It was very hard. The first two climbs were pretty steep, both up and down. As you know, there's probably 7 or 8 hills that are significant. I thought they would be literally these little hills, and we just run up them and run down.
Feels like 20 hills, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was really hard. And I have to say, one of the first times on the whole trip, I was coming down one of the last descents, the last descent before the climb up to Bear's Den. Is very, very vertical, no switchbacks, very, very rocky, and I was not having fun, and I was like a little upset and angry and not happy. And part of it was, like you, at the end of the day, we didn't get here until in fact, there were 2 other people. We didn't get here until 7:50 at night. That was not the big problem. It just was a long day, and I'm sure part of my frustration and unhappiness was just a long day and some really, really hard climbing.
Wow. You're not still cranky this morning, are you? You've recovered.
No, fortunately, it is a magnificent morning. Yesterday morning at 7, it was clear, but a little humid and warm for 7. I was really worried, but fortunately a breeze picked up.
Nice.
This morning, it's got to be 15 degrees cooler, just completely dry, completely clear. I'm not sure you have a much better day for hiking, so I'll be in Harpers Ferry tonight.
Yeah, I know. And actually, our question from a listener is about that, actually. So I'm going to ask you. It's from Joe Serio about Harpers Ferry and flooding. It says, how close are you to Harpers Ferry, which we know now, and how might your plans, according to your schedule, be changing with the recent flooding of the footbridge?
Good question. So it sounds like a long day. It's 20 miles from the hostel to Harpers Ferry.
Yeah.
We've got 3.5 miles of the roller coaster to finish, but of course we're going to do that first thing in the morning. And it's so nice and mentally prepared, rested. I'm not too worried about it. After that, it kind of rolls a little bit, and then it's a long descent into Harpers Ferry. So most people have said, my 20 today will be substantially easier than my 18 yesterday. So
absolutely.
So I got 20, and so I have actually, partly because I'm doing this fundraiser for the ATC, I've been in contact with them because I heard a rumor on the trail a couple of days ago that the bridges into and out of Harpers Ferry were closed because of high water. I did email with Lori, who you interviewed on your show, and she said yes. The first 4 miles out of Harpers Ferry have been closed for a few days, mostly because of concern about the instability of the footbridge that supports the trail. Apparently, there are highway roads that go in and out that are fine, but you can't walk on the road for the vehicles. So she did tell me, and I have not bugged her because I'm going to take a zero tomorrow. She thought that it would be reopened no later than Saturday. So we'll see. If it's closed, I have the good fortune of having my best friend come and visit and spend the zero with me on Friday. So he'll have a car, and if I have to miss those 4 miles, he'll probably just zip me to the nearest trailhead, and I'll head north on Saturday morning.
Yeah, well, the canal path, once you get over the bridge, it seems endless. I mean, there's a slight, gentle incline. It's very flat. It feels very easy to do, but it just goes on and on forever. And you're really grateful when you head back up into into the hills, which is surprising, actually. It really is. So, what were those first moments like on Friday morning as you hit the trail again?
Yeah, it was not terribly shocking or surprising. And I had said to Cheryl, I said, I think by the second night, I'll feel like I never was home for that week. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what happened. So I only did 2 or 3 miles the first day because it was hard to sort of slot into the shelter sequence,
Yeah.
knowing that Cheryl had to drive me, 2.5 hours from Richmond. So we just went up later afternoon, got dropped off late afternoon, did a short hike into the shelter, spent the night, and actually what was really fun that first night was we had a great crowd. Of course, all new people, didn't know a soul there, but it's
Yeah,
just a great.
that's isn't that cool? Don't you think that's cool to be able you suddenly meet a whole bunch of new people?
Yeah, they made it really easy to slip back into it, and a couple of people I met that night I've hiked with now all day for 2 days,
Right.
and so it's actually been pretty easy to get back into the rhythm of things.
So, and that was actually the question. Are you hitting your hiking rhythm now? And we did talk about that before, where you just get those miles on your legs and your legs work well. You got back into that?
Yeah, not a problem. I did want even Cheryl mentioned, you think you'll lose a little bit of your fitness of being away for a week, and I really wondered about that. I didn't think I would. It doesn't feel like I did, and now that I've done 3 good days, even as much as I had some unpleasantries yesterday, I still, in the last hike, as you remember, up to Bear's Den is a
Yeah,
brutal one too.
it is. Yeah,
Um, I was tired, but I was tired from heat and sweat and a long day, but my legs weren't really failing on me. I was just, so more mentally fatigued and frustrated and tired of climbing, but the legs feel strong.
yeah. I think it's all that the thing with the roller coaster. I didn't remember them being terribly difficult in terms of climbs, but they were just there was just so many of them. You had so little respite from them, didn't you? You kept going up and then down, then up, and then down, then up, and then down, and it was so one after the other. That's what really got to me when I was doing it. But as I say, I was fueled by the desire for ice cream, so I was pushing on. Did the time at home help with your aches and pains, or have you got them all back?
Yeah, so I had a few aches and pains, as you know, but they weren't serious. My
Yeah,
back kind of comes and goes. I think the time at home definitely helped. Have not felt my back at all these first 3, 4 days back.
good.
So it was a great visit at home. It was great to see Cheryl. We got to see the girls during Brooke's graduation,
Yeah,
and I saw some friends at home. And while it would have been really kind of neat from I guess, just a timing perspective to have done that after Harpers Ferry, it was just came at a wonderful time to re-energize emotionally and to have a little bit of rest physically. So I think I'm going to look back on that week as not just a great time with family and some friends, but it was really good for me both physically and emotionally. And I think it's going to really help me as I head north, into Maryland and Pennsylvania.
you really seem to be able to emotionally connect and reconnect quite easily. I know that when I was home, my head was still out on the trail, probably because there was doubt about me getting back to the trail because I didn't know what had happened. I was bitten by that dog, but I couldn't wait to get back to it because I almost didn't want to believe it was over. Because I was starting to think when I was at home it was over, but you knew you were going back, so you were able to make that disconnection, weren't you?
Yeah, and it's funny when I was back home with both, Cheryl and friends. A lot of people asked me, was it weird to be home? How'd you feel? Were you eager to get back? Were you dreading getting back? And this isn't always the highest quality in people, but I tend to have I think a very easy time compartmentalizing things, and I
Yeah.
think I have an easy time transitioning. So when I was home, and I was happy to be home, and I could fall into things relatively quickly. I ran by the law firm. I ran by, some other activities I'm involved in, and it just seemed like I hadn't been away. and I could slip in and out of it pretty easily. So,
Amazing.
Again, emotionally, it was wonderful to have that time, but it wasn't that hard also to get back. I don't know if I'd stayed out longer. I felt like I needed to go back before I had been off the trail too long.
Yeah.
And that was more of a defensive mechanism. I don't know if it's true or not, but I just felt like a week's enough. Let's get back and get into this before I feel like I want to stay home too long or not finish.
As I asked the question, I started recalling how I felt about it. And I was definitely two different personas. I was definitely Steve, and then I was Mighty Blue. And shaving my head turned me into Mighty Blue, which sounds ridiculous, I know. But being Mighty Blue on the trail, and actually still being referred to by people I speak to from 2014 as Mighty Blue, as if that's my real name. You know, I find it, that ability to be able to slip in and out of different personas was great. But you can seem to be able to do it without any seem to be able to do it without any transition, which is tremendous.
It hasn't seemed to be that hard, and since I've met some great people, and great bunch of people here, and some people I know at Bear's Den. It was fun last night. A couple of listeners of the podcast who knew who I was, and kind of fun mini celebrity status for a couple of minutes.
Nice, very nice too. Now, one last question, which I'm going to ask until you tell me something different. Have you seen any bears yet?
No bears and no snakes still. You believe I've gone 1,000 miles and I still have not seen a bear, and I haven't even seen a snake. And one of my buddies who's long up ahead on the trail in the middle of Pennsylvania sent me a text saying there's lots of rattlesnakes here in the middle of Pennsylvania. So I am eager to see a bear, but I'm not very eager to see a snake.
I know that when you're hiking along, you look at your feet all the time. You've got to look up once in a while, Bruce. I mean, you might be walking right past a bear 3 feet from you, and you're scratching his head thinking, why is this bloke not scared of me?
Yeah, it's such a good dilemma. It's like if you look up to see the bear, you might miss the snake at your feet.
That's right. Okay, mate. Well, lovely to catch up, and you're sounding really well. I'm so glad you're back into it. And maybe we'll catch up. Hopefully, we'll catch up again, say Saturday or maybe even early Sunday, to try to get two different perspectives for the week. But good to catch up, and I'll speak with you soon. Okay.
All right. Very good. We'll catch up in a little bit. Thanks.
Okay,
again.
mate. Cheers, then. Bye. Yeah, that roller coaster is designed to break your spirit. Like Bruce, my attempt came at the end of the day, and I found it pretty much endless. As I said, though, a pint of Cherry Garcia is always a good motivator at the end of the day. It was interesting that he became aware of the need to get back on the trail before he'd been away from it for too long. There's something that definitely calls you back, as if to let you know that you ain't done yet. Thanks to Joe Serio for asking about the bridge and the canal path closure. Nice to have people looking out for our man. Joe, send me your home address and Trailtopia will send you a couple of yummy meals as a reward. Just a couple of days later, on Saturday, Bruce and I spoke again. He'd been through Harpers Ferry, the sort of official halfway point on the trail, though not actually in miles. When we spoke, he was up on Weaverton Cliffs, having climbed up from the canal path that exits Harpers Ferry. As you'll hear at the end of our chat, he discovers that he's not chosen the optimal place to park himself. Here's Bruce.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bruce. How are you?
I'm good. Good.
And you're out of Harpers Ferry, so obviously, I presume the bridge opened, did it?
They reopened the footbridge. It was closed for I think 2 or 3 or 4 days, but I think it reopened on Friday. Let's see, today's Saturday. I think it reopened on Thursday.
All right, okay. So how was Harpers Ferry? I mean, when did you get in there?
I did a long day, 20 miles from Bear's Den Hostel all the way into town.
Wow.
So I got in late, about 7:30, 8 o'clock Thursday night, and I went right to the Quality Inn that's just a stone's throw off the trail.
Yeah. And what do you think of Harpers? You've been there obviously before, but you go into the ATC and get your picture taken?
Yeah, so I've been there a number of times before. I like I'm a history buff, and so Harpers Ferry is fun for that. It's a pretty town. And of course the ATC is there. I didn't go see them until first thing Friday morning. I took a 0 yesterday, so went over to the ATC and got my picture taken. And I know a number of the people there, so it was fun to see them. And then some other friends from the trail. Everybody shows up, and it's just fun to see everybody. And then I went down to the historic part of town, and there's an outfitter down there. I picked up a couple things I needed, and then I had lunch with the ATC a little later that morning, midday.
Nice, very nice too. So where you are is, as you say, it's historic. I know that the hiking from here, there's a lot of the war stuff around, isn't there? You've got a hell of a lot of monuments, and there's a few museums on the way.
So I understand. I think my next stop this morning, I did the C&O Canal towpath.
Yes.
And
Endless.
there's historical, markers there, and then I'm on Weaverton Cliffs right now, looking back at the river and up the river to Harpers Ferry, and I expect to have lunch at the Washington Monument, just up north here, a little ways.
Nice, very nice. I'm looking actually at the upcoming not landscape, but the upcoming path. You've done your last big climb for a little while, actually. So, I mean, it's still a bit more of a climb today, but nothing as steep as you've just done this morning. How did you find that?
I'd say average. It was not unfair. Decent path, not too many rocks, and decent switchbacks. I do think after 1,000 miles, some of these climbs that used to sort of kick you a bit are just a lot more doable. And it's funny to see, I don't mean this the wrong way, but it's funny to see some of the day hikers struggling. And there's a couple of people with a dog, no packs, no day packs. And, I just went by them with my pack is heavier than it's been in weeks. And, it wasn't easy, but, by now you've done a lot of things a lot harder.
Yeah, I saw the picture of you actually you sent with the text, which you're now looking. You're not looking well. Well, you are looking well, but you're looking almost skinny at the moment.
Well, I don't know if anybody called me skinny yet, but
baggy shorts.
Actually, my friends did call me skinny. Actually, when I went off the trail for that week. I haven't weighed myself. My guess is I've lost over 40 pounds, and I'll probably lose some more. I don't seem to be having any, problems eating, but I'm also not, eating huge quantities. So we'll I'm hoping that it'll be a good adjustment to my weight for the long term when the hike is over.
Yeah. Did you ever pass that or come across that family of 8 people on the trail?
That's a funny question you asked. So I had dinner last night with Lori. I always can't pronounce it very.
Podeiger.
And she's been at the ATC a long time, and you interviewed her.
Yeah, it's great.
And the issue came up because I think some people on the internet have been critical of them taking their family out there, or at least taking the young ones out there. And I was the last week, everyone kept telling me, well, the Crawfords will be in camp tonight because people had been with them and they were on a very similar pace. And they never showed up that whole week when I expected to see them, because apparently I was within hours of them.
Right.
And so last night, Lori said that during my lunch in the historic town, they came into the ATC. So apparently they did hike out yesterday. So stay tuned. My guess is I may see them tonight or tomorrow. I think I'm hiking a little faster than they are, but not much. So
yes, I know you said before they were just ahead of you, so they've done really well. There's no doubt about it. And 2 things about that: one, they have had some bad press, as it were, on YouTube and so on. But if you look at the videos, particularly the one today, there's one today. They actually they went home for 2 or 3 days to run the Cincinnati Marathon as a family.
Really?
Even the 8-year-old, how old she is, or 7-year-old, it's 26 miles, and they all crossed the finish line together. There could not have been a better metaphor for the togetherness as a family. And they all look. I mean, they all say they're looking forward to going home all the time, but they're all doing it together as a family. I'm so I admire them so much. And if you do come across them, say to them, I'd love to talk to them on the Mighty Blue Show. I've actually sent them a couple of messages, but heard nothing. But yeah, it'd be nice for you to see them because it is quite extraordinary taking 6 kids. It's mind blowing to me.
It's kind of a marker of the 2018 year. You know, everyone will remember the year in part for the Winter and the Crawfords. So I hope I do see them. I'm very close and have a pretty good feeling that I'll probably see them over the next 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, fantastic. Now you're going into Maryland, and I recall Maryland being much easier than any part of the trail so far. But then the rocks do start coming. But I think it's about 25, 30 miles, maybe nearly 40 miles of Maryland. And a lot of it is really lovely, beautiful, springy path. And I think you're really going to enjoy that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good because I've been a little worried with the heat and humidity. The whole week is projected to be hot, humid, and thunderstorms every day.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
I had a heavy pack leaving Harpers Ferry, but had a good morning and feel good being back out and sort of whatever sort of mental concerns I had have lifted somewhat. So I'm in a really good mood right now and ready to head on. And weather hasn't beat me up too much this morning, but it's still early. It's still probably 10 o'clock in the morning. But up on top of these cliffs and there's a good breeze. So I've done the big climb for today, and I should be, like you say, on pretty level path for quite some time. So I'm looking forward to the day and moving forward.
Time to enjoy it. You're actually back now for about 6 or 7 days. Been back. You came back on Friday. You're back 8 days now, aren't you?
So yeah, probably. Let's see. Today is Saturday, so 8 days. Yep.
Yeah. So have you reestablished that mindset again? You know, you've become attuned to the daily grind of getting up, getting ready, eating, moving, stopping, sleeping. Are you back into that now?
I think so. Didn't seem. I'm sorry. I'm sitting on an anthill, I think, and they're driving me crazy.
Oh, dear.
I think it was not too hard to get back into it. And again, it was fun being at Harpers Ferry. That was a little unreal for a day, and seeing everybody and having a couple of nice meals. But it felt really good today, even though I was. Part of me was dreading getting out in this weather and heading through the rocks of Pennsylvania. But I'm very thankful that my attitude got adjusted well this morning.
Cool. That's very cool. One last thing, and I've seen it on the news recently. There seems to be a big increase in ticks this year. I know they didn't come out in the cold weather, and I know we've had a couple of questions about ticks. But have you seen any recently, or have you heard of many more?
Yeah, we've been talking about it. People I've been talking with the last couple of days. None of them have seen any on their bodies, and but some people about a week ago said they saw a couple, picked a couple off.
Yeah.
I did see one. I saw one on my tent after I set it up a couple of days ago. So I guess they're out here. I haven't seen a lot of them yet, and it's probably the thing Cheryl worries about the most. And so I've tried to be pretty careful, always taking a look at my body for anything, and it's been okay so far.
Yeah, well, they are the most dangerous animal on the trail, as far as I'm concerned. They can really bring your hike to a really abrupt halt. So I'm glad you're keeping a watch out for them. Are you starting to spray yet? Because you said you just started to. Are you doing it regularly now?
Yeah. Just did that yesterday actually, because I was in town and got new canister of permethrin.
All right, cool. I read the other day you can get some permethrin treated clothes which last for about 70 washes, which is many more washes than I did on the entire AT. So that would be pretty damn useful, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. I have heard that. I didn't hear that there were that many washes available, but I'm happy with the clothes I have right now, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, okay, mate. I think you need a new pair of shorts shortly, because I'm going to put this picture you sent me today in the show notes, and people will see that your shorts are flowing in the breeze at the moment because you've lost. It looks to me like you've lost so much weight. Oh dear. Anyway, well, you carry on. Have a great day. I'm sure you will, and we'll catch up again early next week. All right.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Steve.
All right, Bruce. Cheers then. Bye.
Be well. Cheers.
Bye. He'd been sitting on a bloody anthill. Oh, funny. He was clearly oblivious for a while until, I presume, the ants decided to welcome him in the only way they know how. I hope that some of you are watching his RTK videos on YouTube and reading his blog. As you'll see from the picture I'll be posting, the guy is literally melting in front of our eyes. Please also rate the show on iTunes and tell all your hiking friends by sharing the Facebook posts that I put up every Monday morning. Don't forget also to visit our sponsor, Trailtopia's site. We really believe in their products, so if you keep asking in your local gear stores for Trailtopia, perhaps the owners will climb on board and get some of their meals. That helps Trailtopia, it helps us, and we think it helps you. As I said before, thanks for coming back to catch up. Bruce and I will see you next week.